Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. I'm Lonnie.
Clockwork Calamity.
We are Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux and your local Satanist out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. This was the final episode of Game of Thrones. Was tonight. Uh, Whew. Okay, we have. Okay, first off, I'm not the emotional, distraught wreck that I thought I was gonna be before the episode. I thought this was gonna be hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say that oh, spoilers ahead. Down at the bottom, series finale, live spoiler filled recap. Spoiler warning at the top. If you get this spoiled and
It's your fault.
can't say we didn't warn you. Um okay, so now that we got that out of the way, spoiler. This episode, about the first 20 minutes, this was about an hour and 25-minute episode. The first 20 minutes or so were fairly action packed, figuring out what was going on. It was like, this was a 3-act play. First act, conflict. Second act, we're trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. Third act, which was about the last 40 minutes of the episode. But the third act was the last half. And it was showing us how everything's going.
We call
This
it the
episode,
resolution in literary terms.
this episode was not, um, this episode was not an emotional train wreck. This episode was just a good, for the most part, happy ending. And they wrapped everything up in a nice, neat little package.
Mostly.
Also, feel free, everybody, to hop in and talk during the chat. We will be acknowledging you folks who decide to say something. Tina Lewis is in here. Thought it ended really well. Uh, let's see. Josiah says, well, that ending was a huge disappointment. At least Drogon is the last true dragon. I'm going to have to disagree on that one. I think that this episode, they did everything as perfectly as they possibly could without it being just a happy, everybody right off into the sunset fairy tale ending.
I'm still processing a little bit, honestly.
I am too.
Like, Bran? No.
What's up, Joseph? No, go ahead.
Like, it could have been, like, if it were up to me, it would have been Jon, Tyrion, Sansa.
Doing what?
That's my first, second, and third choice for who should have been the King of the Seven Kingdoms.
Let's go ahead and just get rid of the elephant in the room. Everybody was taking their guesses over the whole, like 8 seasons. Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne? Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne?
Iron Throne's gone.
The Iron Throne is gone. I kind of guessed that. You were like, oh, you kind of guessed it.
Yeah.
Yes, they did get rid of the Iron Throne. John was involved, but it wasn't John that gave the command. Destroy the Iron Throne. It was as a result of loss. So I was about 2/3 of the way right, which is a record. John just decided.
Generous, but
Well,
it's okay.
yeah, there are 6 kingdoms, possible spin-offs. I'm hearing all the spin-offs are going to be prequels, though. So John ends up killing Daenerys because Daenerys is gone full Mad Queen. She's probably going to kill Tyrion. Tyrion, look, you were right. Tyrion is like the shortest dude, smallest guy on the show, but he has the biggest balls of anybody. I said he has to carry his balls around in a freaking wheelbarrow. Like he has to get like another wheelchair, like what Bran has,
Right.
to carry his around. Like for real, that was insane. He basically stood up in front of Daenerys at the beginning of the episode, in front of the thousands of Unsullied, all the Dothraki. He stood up there right in front of everybody and just looked at her and was like, you know what? You're a shitty ruler. He took off his freaking little hand medallion and he tossed it down the steps. And Daenerys is like, take him away. And at that point, I honest to God thought Tyrion was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jessica, welcome to the stream. Amber, another one of our UNN admins.
Hey.
Bran is a good choice, even though I would prefer John. Okay,
I would say Jon as king, Bran as hand.
Everybody would have preferred that, but here's the thing:
Bran should have
they
been the
did
hands.
this perfect. They threw just enough conflict in, and okay. Anyway, but let's not just tackle all the good stuff up front. I made the biggest page of notes I've ever made in Game of Thrones history. I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah, there you can. Seriously, all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so we started out. We had Davos, Jon, Tyrion going through the wreckage. I actually kept a kill list at the top. The only one that made that list was Daenerys.
Well,
I honestly expected at least 2 to 3 people to die tonight, and they didn't. This was a very, very bloodshedless episode. They were in the wreckage. The Unsullied were killing surrendered soldiers from the Kingsguard on the orders of Daenerys. Jon tried to stop them, and him and Grey Worm almost came to blows. The way everything transpired in this episode, there was no freaking way that it was going to end well for Jon. Everything was against him.
I don't know. Traditionally, the ways you become a king are you're the heir of a king, or you kill a king.
Yes.
And he filled both of those requirements.
He did. Jon was really screwed. So. Jon was a victim of his own decency, his own honesty. And you know that he openly admitted to killing Daenerys out of guilt. When they never did show it, but you know.
Although I have to say, when he started kissing her, I'm like, if he doesn't stab her right now. Yeah,
and you could tell that. Well, here we'll get to everything as we go. Susie says, "Oh my God, the end I didn't expect." I don't think any of us expected what happened in like the last 2/3 of this episode. Some of it was kind of predictable. Like a lot of people expected Sansa to end up Queen of the North. That came true. Daenerys died. I basically just about everybody predicted that one. Cersei and Jaime were dead. They confirmed that really early, just to go ahead and knock that out of the way.
Yep.
Tyrion's the one that found their bodies under the wreckage. He lost it. That's what caused him to go up to Daenerys and be like, "Eat a dick." Basically,
yeah.
Here's your hand, rank. Daenerys, let's say in the crowd with Jon. Jon, approached her and was like, they're killing children, all this other stuff.
And you could see in her face that she fully believed that she was doing absolutely the right thing, and super impassioned about it. And that's when he's just like, you know what, got it.
Susie,
no more.
Amber says she hates that they sent Jon back to the Night's Watch. Susie says, "Do you really believe Dany couldn't be a good queen?" No, Dany. They established that very early in this episode. Dany was going to liberate everybody, and I actually, while we were watching it, I wrote "liberate equals kill."
Yep.
She liberated King's Landing. She was going to go liberate the Iron Islands, and I really think that if the Greyjoys and a bunch of the other people who were still loyal to her in the end, I think if they would have seen what she did, seen it in action, and heard her give that little tyrant speech up at the top of the steps, I think they would have said to hell with everything, and they would have fought against her as well.
For sure. But nobody, Yara wasn't there. All she knows is that she didn't like Cersei, and Cersei is gone because of her. That's
Susie was really happy that he finally pet Ghost. Amber said, no, she went crazy.
She did go crazy.
Drogo said, "F that throne." That is very much what happened.
Yep.
We will get to that very shortly. Daenerys made Grey Worm her Master of War. The fact that she called him Master of War instead of head of the Queen's Guard or something, Master
Chief, that's very indicative of what she was planning to do.
Her reign would have been violent. Mad Queen. There you go. The whole series was okay. I'm going to read this exactly. Jessica says the whole series was like really great sex, working up to the end, and then no orgasm. How anticlimactic. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is what happened. The last episode was the orgasm. This episode was like cuddling, but a lot of people were expecting round 2, and the dude wasn't up for it.
It's like you're cuddling and you're expecting to wake up next to them, and they're gone. Like, you thought maybe you'd have a nice breakfast. No, they're just gone.
Well, while we're on, I'm going to really quick
my
just let
take on
everybody
that.
know that we do have like adult branches of our stuff now. Our Twitter at the real UNN and our YouTube are now going to be more focused towards adult stuff. So just letting everybody know if you get a chance at the real UNN and our YouTube.com/Untitled Nerd Network. Just look up Untitled Nerd Network on YouTube. 18 and up, we're going to be doing some more like adult content over there, you know, adult entertainment, stuff like that. But anyway, now that I got that plug out of the way, that was... I appreciate the metaphor, though. That was...
Yeah.
That's going to be how we rate every episode of every show from now on.
Did you orgasm? Was it good for you?
Drogon was feeling my pain, melted the damn throne. Everybody's giving Jessica props. So Tyrion tosses his title. Arya basically warns Jon, you know, hey, you're screwed. Everybody was like, look, you know, you're the rightful heir. Daenerys knows this. You're a threat. You're probably going to die if you stick around and don't kill her.
Yeah.
Tyrion talked to him about it. Arya talked to him about it. Everybody was like, look, dude, you got to do what's right. And what's right might not necessarily be what you want to do. Love is the death of duty, and duty is the death of love, was the theme of, like, Act 1. How did Drogon ever know what the throne was to burn it? They're
That's
smart,
fair.
but come on. No, the dragons... Drogon knew that Jon... They're smart. They're human smart. It's been established, I believe, in the books. I've not read the books, just being up front. But I've read a lot of online articles that these dragons are, you know, they imprint on people, you know, that he did see Daenerys as his mother. But these dragons are as smart as people. They can tell, you know, if somebody's a Targaryen. They can, you know, they know enemy from friend. They know... They're smart. They're as smart as people, and the dragon knew that the throne was, and I'm sure he was flying around, and he probably saw Daenerys looking at the throne, and everything was just focused on that throne. The dragon picked up on it. He had to.
So.
I'm going to try to acknowledge everybody, but we do have a lot of chat coming in, so I'm kind of trying to balance chat with actual review. So apologies if I miss you. Amber said depends on her definition of orgasm because she wasn't satisfied with the last episode. I was pretty satisfied.
I actually liked last week's episode.
Last episode was the rough one that when you're getting it, they just keep going. This is Lord of the Rings. This gave me a Lord of the Rings Return of the King ending, which was funny because me and Ashley actually watched that today. It was fun. Yeah, we did. We watched the full extended Blu-ray today, and I don't know.
It
It
goes
just,
off into the west.
yeah. Yeah, Arya left and went into the west, and she was like, oh, we don't know what's west of Westeros. Honest to God, I think the world's so big, I think that if you go west to west, you know, from Westeros, you go west, you end up in the east.
That's how it tends to work.
I think that the whole map, Westeros, I think that is the whole world. I think west of Westeros is the far east on the other side. You know, who knows? A Bran can control the dragon. They did allude to that, but we never actually got to see it.
Yeah. That's a little disappointing. It would have been cool to see Bran warg into the dragon. That would have been real cool. But
see, Joseph said, I think Daenerys really thought she was doing the right thing.
That's
but
why
she
Jon
was
killed her.
absolutely nuts. You can see it in her eyes when she's talking to Jon. Jordan says Bran can control the dragon, or can he just see where they are? I think he can warg into the dragon.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think
I don't
he
see
would
any
try
reason
that
why not.
immediately, but he may use some birds to go look at the dragon first to just be like, hey, what's going on here?
Well, doesn't he? Doesn't he have to have like I don't know? There we could get into the whole theory of warging for however long, but I feel like he has to see the creature to be able to warg into it.
Have a line of sight.
Yeah.
That may very
Which
well be the
is
case.
actually an interesting point to why it should be Bran. Because he's the only one that can control the dragon at this point, probably.
Wonder what the bottom of the ocean is like. I don't know. There's probably a bunch of crap down there.
There's a lot of wrecked boats. And a dead dragon.
Very similar to Return of the King. Also did Ash. Oh, hey, Joseph wanting to know, did Ashley watch the episode? Why isn't she there? No, like past couple of days. Just if everybody's wondering where Ashley's been, she is here. She's in the bed. She hasn't, for whatever reason, just hasn't felt great the last 2 Sunday nights, and but she'll be watching it tomorrow. Me and her will be, along with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She and I'll be doing a Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Due to my work schedule, we're having to delay some of our reviews of TV shows. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was Friday night. I work Friday night, Saturday night. Game of Thrones is tonight. We didn't feel like doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. today, and we're going to do it tomorrow night. And we're going to watch the finale again. So, but she's okay. She's just asleep. Let's see. Arya side story going west to Westeros. They could make that something, but I would like to see a lot more of the world.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I personally would like to see Old Valyria and like a mini series of Valyria and the lead up to the doom that destroyed Old Valyria.
Okay.
And just have the last episode just be everything just going to shit.
That'd be cool.
Do you think John is just going to stay with the wildlings? Okay,
Probably.
Everybody give me a minute. Give us a minute. Give us a minute. We're getting there.
We're away from the chat for a minute.
We did. I totally devoted everything to the chat. Amber said she's satisfied with Cersei's death. If y'all have questions that you've already asked, and I said hold on, I promise we will ask them or answer them later on in the review. Let's see. John did visit Tyrion. Tyrion was like, hey, you need to do the right thing and end this. Daenerys and the throne. John confronted Daenerys. I actually wrote WTF, John killed Dany. Seriously,
yeah. He was the only one that could have done it.
Yeah, you were expecting it, but when it happened, you still weren't prepared. Because
there was a small part of me that thought that Arya was suddenly going to pull Jon's face off, but Jon would have had to have been dead for that, so never mind.
Yeah, true.
It's been a long day, y'all.
Let's see. Wow. Yeah, I'm not even going to read that. Let's see. John confronts the Queen. The dragon melting the throne. That was cool. And we were joking about it while it was going on. You were wondering why John didn't get burnt.
Yeah. He was standing real close to that fire. If it's hot enough to melt a throne made out of swords, it's hot enough to be dangerous to a human.
He was somewhere between 10 and 15 feet from the edge of a flame that melted an solid iron throne in the span of about 10 seconds. I mean, I'm sure they probably did a little bit of time lapse, but yeah, I mean, it was less than a minute. And he like completely destroyed the throne.
Just standing here like this.
Yeah.
Like, run.
And I mean, hot. it was probably 12, 15 feet from it. And I was saying, like if you have a blowtorch, a blowtorch a lot of times, like the flame, you have a hot blue flame that is like the length of my finger. You can put your hand like this close to it and still not get burnt. So I'm saying let's amplify that to, the flame like the size of this couch. So you could technically probably stand and 15 feet from it and not get burnt. Now, it'll be hot as hell, but you won't get burnt. It's still safe. And I honestly think that if the dragon doesn't want you to get burnt, you're not going to get burnt. Keep in mind, Jon is Targaryen.
True.
He
Okay.
may be
Okay.
immune
That's
to
your
fire.
best argument yet, is that Jon is
Well,
Targaryen.
It sure as hell just now occurred to me. I didn't have it earlier.
That's the best argument so far.
Well, we
I'm
were
not buying it.
we were joking around earlier that
We would spend half this episode debating.
yeah, we were going to spend like half or 3/4 of the review just arguing about the heat.
I was like, I'm just sitting here like, don't say anything. It's not that important.
Fire cannot kill a dragon. Long live Jon. Pretty much. Let's see what we got here. Melted. Okay, so Drogon picked Daenerys' body up, flew away with it. Next thing we know, all the lords of Westeros, the Iron Islands, the North, all this, they're all sitting around. Several weeks have passed. Jon's in prison. They bring Tyrion forward to everybody. The funny thing was they were deciding who's going to be king, and then they were like, oh, let's talk about other options. And Samwell Tarly decided that, hey, maybe it would be a good idea if we just had a democracy and let the people decide.
And they were like, funny.
Yeah, they laughed. They laughed their asses off at that. And I was like, really? Like, even though they laughed whenever he brought that up, I was like, that's how Game of Thrones is going to end. They've gotten rid of the Iron Throne, and now they're going to enter into an age of democracy. But that didn't happen. And I actually thought that would have been a pretty cool ending. Get rid of the kingship and the tyranny altogether.
Well, they kind of compromise between that by having a council to decide, because Bran's not going to be able to have an heir.
They always had a council on the side. Well, no, you have the King's Council.
Well, they decided from now on that's how the king would be chosen.
Yeah, there will not be a genetic heir, a born heir to the king. Instead, after the king dies, it's kind of like the Catholics selecting a pope. All the people in power get together and decide on a new king. That's a pretty dang good idea, because then you don't have people wondering about bastard sons and
right.
All of the freaking issues that we had with Joffrey not being the real legitimate born son of
Right.
Robert Baratheon. He was actually the product of incest between the two Lannisters. And, you get to avoid that with this, and it's democracy without democracy. I guess it's
an oligarchy? Oh, is that how you say that word?
no. That's still.
Rule
I'm
by
pretty
a
sure
small
that's
group.
still keeping it in the family. That's the Lannister way.
Well, that's ruled by a group. It doesn't have to be family.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not totally sure on that. But yeah, they ended up, everybody, Tyrion. It was Tyrion's idea. Voted for Tyrion there in chains, and they actually let him talk. Grey Worm wasn't too happy about it, but they ended up. Tyrion suggested, "Hey, let's have Bran Stark be king. He has a great story." That was the big thing, he's Bran the Broken. Everybody voted for it, and like you said, you could tell that
Except Sansa, she was a little perturbed. You could tell. I think she wanted it for herself.
Yeah.
And then, like, you could see, like, when she went back to Winterfell, and he's like, yes, everybody bow down to me. We just revel in this consolation prize. I want to know what her uncle would have said if she hadn't shut him up.
You know what? I don't know. That would have been a pretty good little what if. I'll go ahead and tell you, there's stuff in this episode that people are going to be talking about for years. It doesn't have like the controversial ending like The Sopranos did, or even to a lesser extent True Blood. But it was still. I'm sure people are going to be. There's going to be some people that are mad. There's even a handful of people in the chat that are like, I wasn't really impressed with it. So the rulers all got together. They decided that Bran Stark was going to be king. Bran immediately makes Tyrion hand to the king, and Tyrion's like, I've made all kinds of mistakes. And Bran's thought was, hey, you made these mistakes. Now as hand to the king, you're going to help rectify those mistakes. So we're going to have Tyrion as hand to the king. And then, after that, we have a lot of your the council ended by Sansa saying that the North was going to remain independent.
Yep.
So Bran, being a Stark, allowed it because he wasn't going to raise hell against his sister. You know?
Right. Why? She's not going to raise hell against him.
Yeah. So I mean, he was like, oh, the North. He understood.
Yeah.
That it was right, and the North was, the North is better as an independent country anyway.
It's just always been like that.
Yeah. And I honestly, like, my fan theory that I've been throwing around all season was I thought all of the kingdoms, all 6 kingdoms, were going to be independent without an Iron Throne.
Yeah,
but
I thought that too.
The leaders of these kingdoms have a desire to be ruled.
Yeah.
It's almost like everybody...
They don't want to be in charge of everything.
Yeah.
They want to have somebody they can lean on and be like, hey, I need help.
Everybody came to a compromise. It's like, okay, we're keeping a king, but we're going to change the way we did it.
Yeah.
The North is going to remain independent. So, and you had a lot of people who were wanting Jon to die for killing Daenerys. Even there were a lot of people who either didn't or just refused to see the evil and the misguided craziness that was Daenerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
Because the Greyjoys from the Iron Islands, they had pledged themselves, and they didn't see what happened after the fact.
Right.
They were too busy. That was kind of a plot point, I think. They got rid of the Greyjoys to where, they weren't around to see the craziness.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Destruction. Let's see.
Well, yeah, because everyone that was there drowned, I'm sure. The entire fleet got burned.
Yeah. They didn't have a whole lot of ships.
Nobody that was there survived, I don't think.
Couldn't give Bran a better name. Bran the Raven. Anything. I mean, Bran the Broken. That's his story.
Yeah, that's true.
That's his defining trait. And like Tyrion said, everybody likes a story.
Yeah. Yes,
Jessica, Game of Thrones is going to be one of those shows where people talk about for years and years to come. Probably one of the best shows on TV in recent memory. The Sopranos series finale was 10 times better than this, according to Amber. I was actually watching the episode. This is what the people who don't like the Sopranos... so Amber thinks that this episode is the same feeling that people had when they didn't like the Sopranos ending. I don't know about that.
I have no idea. I've never watched The Sopranos in my life.
The Sopranos, really quick, The Sopranos ended. Tony Soprano was like a mob boss. Mm-hmm. It ended... All the other mob families and stuff really wanted to kill him. Mm-hmm. The episode ended with Tony getting his wife and his 2 kids together. Or they're adults by now, but they all gather in this little diner. Him and his wife sit down for like the first pleasant meal they've had together at night, and God knows how long. Their son's there with them. Their daughter's outside trying to park her car, but is having a hard time. Meanwhile, you see all these shady people kind of circling around inside the diner looking at Tony. And about the time his daughter walks in through the front door, he looks up, and the series cuts to black, and that's the end of the show. It ended on just a cliffhanger where they're like, oh, you decide what happened.
I think I agree more that this is more in line with like a Return of the King kind of ending, where everybody just kind of goes off into the distance and this is what they're going to do now.
I think Sopranos half-assed the ending. This, you're right, Return of the King, they went the complete opposite direction here. Mm-hmm. They really gave you closure on every single character that was still alive.
Yeah.
Even more than they had to.
Yeah.
At certain points. This is how anime fans feel when the show goes past the book. That's actually pretty funny.
It's how anime fans feel when the main plot is over and they continue to make another season and a half. I'm looking at you, Death Note and Sword Art Online.
I don't get the reference.
Somebody does. It's okay.
I'll say, I bet somebody watching does. Probably Jessica, actually. Okay, Bran the Broken, Tyrion the Hand. They sent Jon to the Night's Watch. The people, the Greyjoys from the Iron Islands wanted him dead. The Unsullied wanted him dead. Bran wasn't going to kill him, but to maintain peace, he had to do something. Sent him to the Night's Watch. At the end of the episode, okay, let's talk about this. Mm-hmm.
He's just heading into the woods.
The end of the episode, he shows up at the Night's Watch, which neither one of us even knew the Night's Watch still existed.
Right.
The Night's Watch has no purpose anymore.
Like, where did these two guys come from? I thought they were all dead.
Yeah. The wildlings, the people north of the wall, I almost feel like wildlings is a derogatory, like, N-word of the
kind
north.
Of, yeah.
The wildlings...
Free folk.
Are, yeah, the free folk. The free folk are all, a big group of them anyway, are all there at the wall. The wall, a huge chunk of it's been knocked down, so what the hell are you going to guard?
Well, what are you guarding it from? The Night King is gone. The Army of the Dead is gone.
Yeah, the Army of the Dead is completely
gone. Now you just have
gone.
Wild animals, which you have south of the wall anyway.
The only thing north of the wall now is the free folk, and they're allies now. Mm-hmm. So why don't just destroy the freaking wall? But anyway, they send John to the wall. He has, to take the black again, that whole deal. And when he shows up, Tormund's there. It's like smiling at him. My first thought was, holy crap, they've made Tormund the head of the Night's Watch.
Yeah, I thought that too for a second.
But he shows up, they just kind of give each other a look. Ghost is there. We finally got to see John pet Ghost because everybody was raising hell a couple weeks ago that he didn't. And so they all get together. We don't see John take his vows. We see the gate open up, and John, Tormund, Ghost, and all the free folk go through the gate north of the wall. The gate closes behind them, and you get that kind of metaphorical, like, hey, the door is closed behind him. He's never coming back.
Yeah.
He's north of the wall. He earlier in the series, what was it, like season 3 or 4, he was north of the wall and really felt at home.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the idea that I got, was he went north of the wall never to return. And it makes you wonder, did Bran know he was going to do that?
Of course he did. Bran knows everything.
Yeah. Yes! You cannot get anything by Bran, and he didn't care. And, none of the Unsullied looked like they were going off on their own thing now. They're not taking part in the affairs of the Seven... North?
It was Naath. It's been mentioned before, and I can't think of where it is or what's there.
Okay.
But I wonder if it was one of the places that Daenerys wanted conquered.
No, I don't think so. I think if they were going to go around raising hell... Well, I mean, if it wasn't actually in the Seven Kingdoms, I don't think, Bran would really give a crap. Okay, so...
I mean, he probably would give a crap about killing innocent people.
Tyrion said they had to have a place for bastards to go.
Yeah.
That's... let's see. So, Noth, northern... Is the location of... Noth, known to the ancients as the Isle of the Butterflies, is an island in the Summer Sea off the northwestern coast of Sothorius.
People.
It's due south of the Valerian Peninsula. So it's like on the big eastern continent where we got to see Daenerys, but it's south of that.
Okay. What does it say about people?
Yeah.
What does it say about people? You just scrolled right past it.
Noth have a unique look to them with flat faces, dark skin, golden eyes. They are called the peaceful people due to their belief in extreme pacifism. They make music rather than war and kill nothing, not even animals, eating only fruit and never flesh. They are widely sought after by slavers and consider them to make the best slaves. That is probably where a lot of the Unsullied came from. They went back to their homeland to live in peace.
I wonder if that's where Grey Worm and Missandei were talking about going to.
Yes. I almost bet that is the case. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Missandei was from Noth. Yep.
QQ.
Holy crap. Okay.
Oh yeah, because there was the thing before the big battle where they were talking about going off and starting a life together.
Yep, yeah. Elise here says that's where his girl wanted to go. That sucks, but at least that he got his ending. It wasn't the ending that he wanted, but he got a good ending.
I guess.
He's
gonna go be a pacifist and make music. It sounds lovely.
Boy, that was like the weirdest little giggle I've ever given on here. Okay, so John says goodbye to everybody. That was pretty cool. Arya goes wester than Westeros. We had talked about that.
She's gonna be a
And,
pirate.
yeah, passing. She's a pirate. I really think she's going to end up probably easter than east by going wester than west. We're going to have probably Arya see a dragon. That's my bet. Sam, Bronn, and Davos are like the council. And then Brienne is the head of the Kingsguard now. Podrick is there. He's part of the Kingsguard.
Well, he can actually be her squire now because she's actually a knight now.
I know, right? That was pretty freaking cool. It was just neat to see Podrick. You know, I tell you, my favorite in hindsight.
Podrick.
I know y'all were just dragging this out, but this is not only the series finale recap. This is like the series recap overall.
Yeah, I guess
This
so.
is it. Like this is all. My favorite scene with Podrick was where Bronn and Tyrion were in there, and Tyrion had given Podrick a bag of money to go to the brothel, and he came back and tossed the money down on the desk, and he was like, no, you didn't have to pay me back. He was like, oh, no, they gave me the money back. And Tyrion, I think it was, Tyrion looked over at Bronn, and Bronn looked at him, and Tyrion said, have you ever known a whore to give back money? And they looked, and he was like, what'd you do to him? I was like, I don't know. I just, I went to bed with them. And so at that point, they both get up, pull their chairs over next to him, start pouring wine. It's like, we need to know everything. What happened?
I forgot about that, actually.
That's like my favorite. Yeah. That's probably like one of my top 5 favorite like non-action scenes in Game of Thrones. Definitely my favorite Podrick moment. So, I mean, that was really funny. Let's see. So we had the whole little group, Sam, Bronn, Davos, then we had, them in the Kingsguard. Tormund was at the wall. They went north of the wall. I thought it was really cool to see like the kind of mixed ending with Arya, Jon, and Sansa showing where they ended up. Sansa's queen of the independent north now. Jon is going norther than north. We had people going like wester than west, norther than north, that kind of thing. So that all ended up working out. Probably one of the touching moments in the last 10 or 15 minutes of the episode was Brienne. She sat down with the book of all of the Kingsguard.
Finished Jaime's entry.
Yep. Because you remember there was a scene earlier in the series around about right after little asshole Joffrey became king, and he was really, Joffrey didn't know that Jaime was his father.
Right.
And he was like, oh, uncle, we're looking at, this person's entry, they have great deeds. This person's entry, they have great deeds. And he opens it up to Jaime's, and he was like, oh, look at yours, uncle. You've only got like 3 or 4 lines in here, and it ends with you being the Kingslayer. And he's just constantly dogging him. And you could tell that Jaime is truly bothered that this book is going to have him remembered as the Kingslayer.
Yeah.
And Brienne gets in there after the fact and writes down, he died saving his queen.
Yeah.
Leaves out all the bad stuff. He defended his country. He defended the throne. He fought honorably.
He fought
that
the
kind
Night
of thing.
King.
Yeah,
She
fought
put
the
a
Night
little
King. It
blurb
was
about
just, many battles. It was just fitting.
Yeah.
Just fitting. It really was. Chills.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
She's so honorable.
So
I think that's what I love is there's so many different kinds of strong female characters in this show.
Yep.
Brienne is wonderful. I love her. She's like perfect. The knights in this show are knights to a T. Like they might have their various character arcs and stories and personalities, but they are knights and they are loyal to their cause through and through.
And they're all flawed to some extent.
Yeah.
And she knew that even though Jaime did what he did with her and left her, that his heart was definitely in the right place the whole time. For the most part. I mean, he wanted to save Cersei.
Yeah.
And
And his child.
His sister, his former lover, his child. There was a lot at stake.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, I could see where he was coming from.
Yeah.
You understood it. He did it, I think, with the right intentions. And, he died for it.
Yep.
You know, so. Do you have a favorite part of this episode? Well, I guess first off, it would be wise to rate this episode 1 to 10 or
the episode.
or a platinum 11.
It's not getting an 11.
You know what? I'm not going to say an 11 too, but I will give this episode a solid 10 for killing off Daenerys, being a good bookend to the series.
Mm-hmm.
The series ended well. I wasn't left wanting more. They wrapped up everything. The only thing that I would have wanted to see is the dragon thing wrapped up.
Okay.
The dragon was the only loose end. You know, what the hell are they going to do with the dragon? Is the dragon going to come back in a year and destroy everything that they've rebuilt? Is the dragon just gone off to mourn? Is the dragon going to go find Well, also, we get the idea that winter's over.
Yeah, because the little plant.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of plant life growing up through the snow north of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's something we never saw. Every other time we ever saw north, we did see trees, but there was just snow everywhere.
Yeah.
But now...
Well, the snow was thin enough that you could see the, ground underneath a little bit.
Yeah. So you can kind of tell that winter is not only over, but it's probably gone. I'm sure it'll still be cold up north, but it's not winter like we're used to. So, 1 to 10? I tried to give you a minute.
I know, and then we started talking, and I had to stop thinking about it. I'm gonna give it, an 8.
Really? The finale an 8?
I kind of felt like, when you have puzzle pieces, and, you find one that you're pretty sure fits, but it's not exactly perfect, but you stick it in there anyway. That's kind of how I feel about this episode.
There's a "that's what she said" joke in there somewhere, but...
You're right.
Hey, look, judging by how this review started earlier, that was rather tame.
Right.
Oh, man. But anyway, yeah.
I'm gonna have to take some time to figure out how I felt about it, but I don't know.
We'll almost, have to get together and do another... overall series in
after.
review.
Yeah.
We've had time to sit and think for 6 months, and now we're back talking about our overall thoughts. Now that we've had enough time to process and grieve.
Year anniversary of the ending of the series.
Oh, do we have anything else? Do you want to offer thoughts? Realistically, this is our last live Game of Thrones review.
It's been a fantastic series.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pleased with how it ended. I don't think I am. I'm not.
Where does out of all the TV that you've seen and all that, where does Game of Thrones rank? It's up there?
It's definitely top 5 for sure.
Okay.
I would have to sit down and give it a more definitive answer where in the top 5, but I would say it's definitely top 5. I've committed to it way more than I've committed to most other series.
I'm gonna say that
Season
for me,
8.
Game of Thrones is either 1 or 2, and it's really neck and neck with The Walking Dead. But thank God that they never aired at the same time.
Right.
Because about the time
Never
Game of
have
Thrones ends, Walking Dead's coming back on in October. Mm-hmm. And then Walking Dead ended 3 weeks or 4 weeks before Game of Thrones came on. They've always been really good about not making... I think they know better.
Probably.
I think they know that...
Not to compete with another big phenomenon show like this.
Yeah, and the fact that most of your fans of Game of Thrones probably like The Walking Dead, and most of your people who like Walking Dead like Game of Thrones.
I don't think I've ever committed this much time to a single TV show. Honestly.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't watch a lot of TV. I think the longest series that I have started after it was finished and actually finished it was probably Breaking Bad.
No, I've watched a
even-
little bit of that show, but I
I
never.
don't know if it's probably not as long as Game of Thrones. I think it's only like 5 or 6 seasons.
I never watched any of the episodes where he was bald. If that tells you anything.
Oh.
Yeah, I never made it that far. Well,
you need to finish that
holy
series.
crap.
Anyway.
I mean, I guess that's it. Again, like I am going to be like, basically letting everybody know, going to be plugging this, for lack of a better word, about our all of our like adults only stuff that we got going on Twitter and YouTube at The Real UNN on Twitter, and then Untitled Nerd Network obviously on YouTube. So be checking that out over the next few weeks. We just rebranded today. And so basically our Instagram, if I ever work on it, and our Facebook are all ages. Everybody, it occasionally gets PG-13 because sometimes we just can't help it. And then more of our adult 18 and up content is going to be on those other two. So, dang, I guess that's it. It's been a wild ride.
So.
You know, and you joined us this last season, and we're here for a majority of the episodes, and it was it's been really fun.
It has
so
been fun. I've enjoyed it.
maybe eventually we will find another show to do this. Maybe we can like get in on the ground floor of like episode 1 of season 1 on some new cool show. Do you like The Watchmen?
I'm the worst nerd alive, okay? I have not read nor seen The Watchmen. I have not seen The Watchmen because I have not read The Watchmen. I want to read it first. Don't loan me a book. I'll never finish it and give it back to you.
Yeah, I know.
This is why I've never watched it.
I've been there and done that. I actually loaned out my compendium 1 of The Walking Dead and never got it back. So
Oh, no.
yeah, it's gone.
Oh.
But anyway, I don't actually have the physical
I need
copy.
to
I
sit
have
down
it.
and
I have it on my
read
tablet. But I would definitely lend you the movie. I've got it on Blu-ray over there. So yeah, I mean, what it is Watchmen is going to be coming on HBO soon.
Oh.
There's a TV show
Yeah, I saw
coming
the
out.
preview for that when I was watching last week's episode.
So it's going to be pretty cool,
Yeah,
I think. I'm
looks
really
pretty
looking
cool.
forward to it. That's probably going to be the next one. But now that I'm working, closing shifts till 3 a.m. full time at night, we might not be in a place where we can really commit to doing them every week. So I don't know. We'll see.
Let's see what
Anyway,
happens.
I guess that's it.
I guess so.
We good? Good. I don't
Yeah.
want to end and then be like,
I mean,
Damn
it'll
it.
happen. It's always
Yeah.
going to happen.
definitely. Well, everybody have a good rest of the night. I'm probably going to be on, I'm staying up late every night now. It's part of my schedule. So I'll probably be on here in like 30, 45 minutes after I get all my emails and everything done. Probably playing some Skyrim tonight on Xbox 360. If anybody's going to be up late tonight, feel free to join me. I could use the company. Trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing. Any kind of... Ashley and I are going to be on tomorrow evening around 8 o'clock for our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. review. I'm not going to be doing anything at night Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Friday night we'll be doing Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm hoping we all get together Saturday night for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. Myself, Amber, and Ashley. Hopefully. We'll see. And I'm going to stop before I keep rambling
on and on and
about
on.
everything but Game of Thrones. So everybody have a good rest of the night. Join me here shortly for some video gaming. I'm Lonnie.
Clockwork Calamity.
Did I let you talk enough tonight?
I didn't have a lot to say. I'm very in my head with this episode still, so...
Okay, because I get
Alright.
accused of talking way too much.
No,
and
you're good.
cutting everybody out, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to...
No, you'll know if I have something to say because I'll keep doing like...
Yeah.
trying to get a word in.
I'll just,
edgewise,
at that point, I'll just
but
back off.
No, you're... Okay. No, I'm
Yeah.
good. I said everything I had
I
to
say that as I'm interrupting you while you're saying that.
It's okay.
Everybody have a good rest of the
Anyway,
night.
good night.
Yep.